Mr. Cleft, for being here. I'd like to introduce now Mr. Jim Hart, President and CEO of ARRIBA Corporation. Mr. Hart was a Navy shipbuilder for 22 years when he retired and began to explore the field of construction and security installations. ARRIBA was established in 1998 in Norfolk, Virginia, certified as an 8A, and a service-disabled, veteran-owned business. Thank you for being with us, Mr. Hart, and I'd like to invite you to make any open comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of Congress. It's really a pleasure and a privilege to be here with you today. As the Chairman said, we do construction, and we do heavy construction. We do renovation. Right now we're working on the Pentagon, for example, because there's no work down in the Tidewater area, and I'll get into that in a second. This company of mine works primarily for the federal government. We don't really work for anybody else. We work on bases. We work for FEMA. We work for the Coast Guard, Army Corps of Engineers, NAVFAC, Veterans Affairs, you name it. But it's primarily for the federal government. We understand how to do business with the federal government. We like the structure, and we stay there. Service-disabled veteran businesses, in my belief, can actually implement the President's stimulus package and actually get work into the field, get paychecks to the unskilled, semi-skilled people quicker than anything else. What I'm going to speak today, well, I have 2 points. How did the marketplace for construction for the service-disabled vet get where it is today, the history of it? And number 2, what actions can be taken to take advantage of the service-disabled vets? How did we get there today in construction? BRAC is the problem. What happened was the edict was given on October the 1st, 2011. Unfortunately, the program was not funded, but the end date stayed. Upfront planning and funding came out of Hyde for NAVFAC and the Army Corps. This was done using regular appropriated funds from the operating budgets, and therefore maintenance and renovations were deferred. This includes building renovations, HVAC upgrades, road maintenance, roof repairs, etc. In addition, in order to accomplish the monumental tax dictated the services bundled large projects together so they could manage them without adding personnel resources in contracting and inspections. Without the funds for either advanced planning or the added manpower, the services had no choice but to bundle these contracts to mega projects, which cut out the small business. In 2006, 7, and 8, the maintenance budgets for most, if not all, of the bases in Tidewater was zeroed out, and the result is work completely dried up. Only the most critical work was being done. In 2008, the contracting officer, who has just recently retired, told me that in Oceana, NAS Oceana, Fightertown, USA, he could spend $5 to $10 million just on the roads, not to include any of the 100-plus packages that were already designed and budgets developed for due to lack of funding. Other bases like Dam Neck, Little Creek, Fort Story, Fort Eustis are in the same situation. All types of work are required, but no funds are available to do the projects, and these are bases only in Tidewater. Now, we do have the largest number of bases around in the country, so you're talking about a large concentration, but it's the same all over Tidewater. Here's where the service-disabled veteran companies depend on work for growth. Projects of the $250,000 variety to the $3 million size is what will grow service-disabled veteran companies. To sum up where the problem is, BRAC bundled the projects to the size that the service-disabled contractors could not compete. A service-disabled veteran contractor, in general, is not going to go after a $10 million to $25 million contract, and many of them, for example, at 40 or 50 and $100 million. Right now, today, there are over 200 job openings for qualified inspectors and contract specialists in NAVFAC Mid-Atlantic alone. These people need help. What I'm telling you is the system is stretched too tight. You put money in there, it's not going to do you any good. What can be done? Provide funding to the services and the VA and other federal agencies to get their maintenance backlog done. You don't have to do any engineering. Your engineering's finished, so your upfront time is already expended. The VA has language, and they didn't really go into it very deeply, but the VA has language in their procurement authority that says they can go sole source to a service-disabled veteran company to get work done. I would recommend that the President sign an executive order authorizing all federal agencies to have that tool. As part of the funding, include additional funds to outsource the inspections and the contract specialists. By using these work packages that are already there, the sole source tool, you're going to be able to put funds in the hands of unskilled, semi-skilled, and tradesmen all over the country, working on all of the federal agencies that have a backlog. Thank you, sir.